Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So today, we're gonna be focusing on a TikTok creator. Ooh, I just got really short. Today, we're gonna be talking about a TikTok creator called Splotchmaker. She's a pretty prominent figure in the fat acceptance community on TikTok. I have come across her in many of my different researching times while I'm finding TikToks for these videos. And she spews everything that I think is bad about the fat acceptance movement. So we're gonna do a deep dive a little bit today. Before we get into the reaction, I just want to thank today's video sponsor, FlexiSpot. They're back, guys. How exciting. Anyways, let's get into that. So since my partner is going to be moving in with me soon, I have to clean off my current FlexiSpot Pro Plus standing desk that they sent me a couple months ago. This used to house my craft machines, but will be the home of my partner's PC soon. But with the holidays coming up, my FlexiSpot Pro Plus standing desk will serve as a gift wrapping table in the meantime. Also known as the E7, the Pro Plus standing desk has a keypad panel that takes your experience to the next level. Apart from the programmable memory presets, there is a USB port on the side of the keypad to charge your devices conveniently. When encountering any objects while lifting and lowering, the E7 will bounce back a bit before coming to a stop to protect your stuff from crashing. The E7 desk has a large height range from 22.8 inches to 48.4 inches, which makes it super easy to use while standing up for all customers with heights of from 4'2" to 6'3". Also, its noise-free operation won't disturb your pets or kids when they're napping beside you. Speaking of its flexibility, in addition to its wide range of height, the E7's retractable frame allows you to adjust the desktop width from 43.4 inches to 74.8 inches. No matter if your space is big or small, like mine, the E7 always fits your needs. I love my FlexiSpot desks. Yes, I said desks. I already had one before I started working with them, and I cannot recommend them enough. The other one I have is the 48-inch FlexiSpot Comhar all-in-one standing desk with a glass top. This has served as my main work desk over the last year and a half, and I can't imagine my day-to-day work without it anymore. You can kind of see it behind me in these clips. It's the one that has my iMac on it and everything. FlexiSpot is currently running a Black Friday sale until November 24th, and you can get up to 50% off your purchase. There will be an affiliate link in the description box below if you want to go shop their sale, and if you do, please let me know in the comments what you get, because I am nosy and I always want to know. Bye! Thank you so much to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video and sponsoring me again. I really appreciate it. I love working with them. I've been using their products for a long time before they even sponsored me. Thanks so much to you guys for interacting with my content and watching it and doing whatever you do to it to make brands want to keep working with me. It will never not be weird to me when a brand wants to work with me because I'm just me. It's just weird. So yeah, thank you guys so much. There will be a link in my bio to check out, or a link in the description to check out FlexiSpot. It is an affiliate link, so I do earn a little bit of kickback from it. But other than that, that's it. I really hope if you do try anything, let me know how you like it in the comments, or let me know what you do decide to try in the comments, because I want to know. And yeah, so now that that is over, let's get into the reaction.
Phobia in medicine is just so fucked up, y'all. I went in to get on Lexapro, which is supposed to help with depression and anxiety, and she was so hesitant, my doctor, to put me on it. And she brought up Wellbutrin, and I was like, it doesn't really help with anxiety, and it can often make it worse. And she's like, yeah, it can often make it worse. And I'm like, yeah, my anxiety is a really big symptom. It's a real big problem. Even knowing that I've had, like, anxiety attacks, like, in public, at home, like, where I've had to go to the emergency room, even knowing how bad my anxiety is, like, she still was so hesitant. She was like, well, a side effect of Wellbutrin is weight loss. And I just fucking stared at her like, doctors would rather fat people get medicine that will make some of their symptoms worse and make them more miserable as long as they lose weight. grody fat people.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this one because I get how frustrating specifically mental health treatment can be as a fat person. When my depression and anxiety like onset when I was 15 or 16, I think, I was still very, very big, especially for that age. And I knew what was happening to me was that I was finally basically having my depression and anxiety onset. I am genetically doomed in that area. So like it was just a matter of when it was going to happen. So when it did happen, I went to my psychologist at the time, who I had been seeing pretty regularly, and told her like, hey, not doing too great. And she totally saw those symptoms and signs and agreed with me that I was not only depressed, but I was also having symptoms of anxiety. And I was like, sick, what can we do? And she literally just told me that I needed to lose weight and I would be fine. Like, that was what she told me. I knew that was not the case because I knew that chronic and clinical depression and anxiety just runs rampant in my family on both sides, and I knew that I personally was going to need medication to get back to somewhat normal, especially with the life that I was living at that time. I was super involved in school. I was in school, marching band, and theater, and I think I was stage managing at that time in theater, so I was like extra busy too. And I told her, I was like, dude, I didn't say dude, I said her name, but I was like, I literally go from school at 7:30 in the morning to marching band practice directly after school to sometimes theater rehearsal right after marching band practice. I had a lot of days like that in high school. And I said, I quite literally, then homework. I said, I quite literally like don't have time to implement a weight loss regimen in my life right now. And that was true. And she was like, just do laps around the theater. Like, just do that. And I was like, I can't do that. I stage manage. I have to take notes, like blah, blah, blah. She just wasn't having it. And so, but now that I had the validation of being told by my psychologist, who had been seeing me for a really long time, that she did see symptoms of these things in me, I went to my general, like, medical doctor, told her about everything, and she had also been seeing me for a really long time too, and she was able to confirm what she was seeing, and she did help me start the process of finding a medication that was going to work for me. And it's a very long process, but I've since found the ones that work for me, and one of which is actually Wellbutrin, bupropion, because I am generic brand. I did not notice at the time any weight loss. I didn't notice at the time my anxiety getting worse either. But I do know that that is a symptom for people on Wellbutrin, but it's honestly a symptom for a lot of people on any kind of medicine relating to these things, and it's just about finding the one that works for you. I have a really hard time believing that a doctor who knows your medical history and mental health history would prescribe you a anti-anxiety medication just to help you lose weight. Like, I have a hard time believing that, but I know not all doctors are amazing, especially when it comes to fat people. I've experienced it firsthand, and I am really sorry for her if that's what she experienced. What I did not like about this video is that I'm afraid that it's going to scare people to go to the doctor if they have a problem, especially with mental health, because in my opinion, mental health is the core of all other health problems. Like, you should have your mental health, like, mental health should be treated with way more care and respect than it is, and with more importance and less stigma than it is, because it is so important to the rest of how your body functions. Anyways, so I'm genuinely afraid that this kind of video and this experience is going to scare other fat people away from going to the doctor. And I just reacted to Glitter and Laser's video about going to the doctor like a week ago or so, and she talks in that video how important it is to go to the doctor regardless of how scared you are, even if your diagnosis is weight loss, or your prescription is weight loss, and that it's necessary. And so as someone who quite frankly didn't want to be alive anymore at that time of my life, I'm really happy I went to the doctor. And I'm really scared that this one-off experience is going to scare people, specifically younger people, from going to the doctor. Yes, sometimes getting a second opinion is necessary. Being your own advocate is so important in the medical system, no matter what. And yeah, so I'm just afraid that this is going to make people afraid to go to the doctor. And I have a hard time believing that the experience she's explaining is exactly how it went. I can see a doctor being like, I think this medicine would work for you mentally, and also a symptom or a side effect of Wellbutrin is weight loss, which does seem unnecessary to me in this context. But I can see a doctor saying that. But I have a hard time believing that the doctor totally ignored like all of her wishes to go on Lexapro just to put her on Wellbutrin just for weight loss. There had to be something else, in my opinion. Maybe there wasn't, maybe the doctor is shitty, but either way, I'm afraid that it's going to scare people away from going to the doctor. Yeah, so on to the next one.
But I think there's ever a reason for weight loss. Yeah, there are tons of reasons why people lose weight. They're valid, but they're also fat phobic.
So this is her duetting somebody and saying maybe y'all will listen when a thin person says it. And they're talking about how there are many valid reasons to lose weight, but all of those reasons are still fat phobic. And this is another thing that a lot of fat acceptance folks talk about, and that I think is very harmful to people, specifically people who like aren't maybe so ingrained in the fat acceptance narrative, but just kind of like consume the content like I did when I was younger. I don't think that people who have lost weight did it so just to be fat phobic. In a literal sense, sure. Fat phobia does translate to the fear of being fat. I get that for sure. But in the way that fat activists talk about it, it oftentimes is people think fat people are less than, undesirable, gross, lazy, whatever. I can tell you that probably the majority of fat people who have decided to lose weight because they felt fucking miserable or they were gonna die. It wasn't because they didn't want to be perceived as gross, like lazy, blah blah blah. At least in my experience, that's not why I chose to lose weight. I chose to lose weight because I was pre-diabetic, had a malfunctioning liver, and overall was just feeling not great at the age of like 21. Which was not awesome because my life hadn't even begun yet. And so I think spreading this narrative that people who have lost weight or want to lose weight is fat phobic in the way that fat activists talk about fat phobia is super harmful, because I think of Little Megan, who was taking in this kind of content because she saw people who looked like her on the internet and liked that. Knowing that she needed to lose weight, being unhealthy because she needed to lose weight, having a slew of medical issues that could only be fixed by weight loss, having her internet faves telling her that she was fat phobic because she wanted to lose weight, when literally the last thing she ever wanted to be was fat phobic in the way that they talk about fat phobia. And I'm afraid when people talk about this kind of stuff that it is causing people to have second thoughts about something that could quite literally save their life. And that's why I continue to talk about it. And that's why I'm talking about this particular creator, because she talks about this sentiment a lot. And it is, I think, very harmful. Okay, so this one, the words on the screen say, "Y'all are laughing, but this is really how former fats act." And then this was the audio. Let me play it again.
You skinny bitches are evil and you need to be destroyed! And them big fat bitches will burn in hell.
So it's saying that, like, when people are fat, they're saying you skinny bitches or whatever and need to be destroyed. And then it's saying that the mindset switches to fat bitches will burn in hell or whatever. And this is just, I wanted to show this one again to kind of further my last point, in that this narrative is extremely harmful. And because Little Megan would have seen this and been like, oh, this person that I look up to on the internet will think that I think that they're bad if I lose weight. And that's not true. And it still isn't true. I still do not think fat people are bad or are inherently promoting obesity just by being on the internet. I think when they display messaging like this, that's when it kind of becomes an issue. But if you're just existing, who the fuck cares? Like, if you don't want to lose weight, get it, bestie. I don't care. If you are happy, that's literally all I care about. But when you start talking about ex-fat people or people who want to lose weight as being bad people and talking about other untrue things surrounding the narrative around fat people, that's when I take issue. And I experienced this as a young fat person, and I just remember how shitty it made me feel knowing that I should lose weight and knowing that losing weight would make my life better and make me healthier and flip a lot of health problems that I had at the time. But me being so young and impressionable, I was like, but I don't want so-and-so to think I'm bad, or I don't want to lose friends, or I don't want to lose, you know? And it's shitty, because everybody should just be able to do whatever the fuck they want with their body. And I think, again, I've said this a lot, I think the fat acceptance movement is extremely, extremely hypocritical. Because just like they are allowed to be fat, and they are allowed to be proud to be fat, and they are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want with their body, so are people who want to lose weight, and so are thin people, and so are people who want to go to the gym and work out to be healthier, and whatever. Everybody's allowed to do whatever the hell they want. But when you start preaching about the other side or whatever, that's when it just becomes an issue, because you're not them. So, like, who cares? And you're going to make people, specifically younger people, have a lot of internal mental gymnastics to sort out on top of everything else that they have going on. And it's not good. And it makes other people feel like shit. So that doesn't help either. This particular creator is very much like anti-thin people, and I've talked about them in other reaction videos about being anti-thin people, which I think fat people wanting to be accepted being anti-thin people just is like making their entire argument null and void. Anyways, I think I went off on that one. I think I went off track on that one, but whatever. Let's move on to the next one.
So I found out about the shenanigans on Twitter when Fat Feminists tweeted about it. Skinny people using this song specifically about growing up as a fat person.
This is her talking about the song Fat Fuddy Friend by Maddie Zom again. And it's like, stop commandeering this song, and the stitch was a thin person talking about how they've also drawn out in Sharpie where they'd take the scissors and whatever, and they're again talking about how thin people can't relate to this song.
To talk about their teeth and how they're too skinny, and it's such a great analogy for where mainstream body positivity is now compared to what it was intended for. It was created to liberate the most marginalized of bodies, you know, black, brown, disabled, fat, super fat bodies, and now it's been watered down to being about self-love and body image. This song isn't for you. This song isn't for you. Yes, I'm gatekeeping. Yes, I'm gatekeeping this. This is specifically about growing up fat and being fat. I just really wish thin people would stop commandeering these things and these movements, inserting yourself, taking up too much space.
Okay, so we're talking about this again. First of all, when I talked about this song in my last react, a lot of people told me that Maddie Zom actually had weight loss surgery, which I did not know. And I always thought, because I was talking about how I think it's funny that in any other instance, these fat acceptance people would look at Maddie Zom and be like, you are not fat, you do not deserve to be in this movement, because she's not thin. We very much have like similar bodies, in that we are not thin, but to fat acceptance people, we are not fat enough to be valid members of the body positive fat acceptance community. But she made a song that they relate to. She's allowed. She's allowed in. But their whole thing is that this song was relatable to other people who weren't fat, thin people. And I thought that was totally cool, because I know plenty of very thin people who think they are much bigger than they are. And because of that, they relate to the actual fat people experience, because their brain makes them see a fat person. And so I really don't see the difference in that between actually being fat and thinking that you are fat, because what's happening up here is what's reality to you until you get some help. And if that made people feel validated, and if that song made people who maybe weren't outwardly super fat feel validated and seen in their own experiences, then so fucking be it. That's awesome. That's what art is all about. As an artist myself. And so I really hate the gatekeeping surrounding this song. I hate it. And I also hate that she talks about how body positivity has been watered down to be about self-love. Because I personally think self-love and body positivity are like synonymous, you know? I don't, and yes, body positivity did start for super marginalized bodies, like disabled people, like burn survivors, like people who can't help the way that their body is. And I still am really, and I'll say this in every video, I am really sad that that got taken away from those people by fat activists. Body positivity did not start as fat activism. Body positivity started as body positivity. I made a whole video on this. So whenever they bring this up, like, it's just factually incorrect. But yeah, I just really hate how this song is being gatekept by people. Because if people can relate to it, fat or not, people can relate to it. And that's what's important with music. So let's stop being shitty towards people who can relate to this song, regardless of if they're fat or not. Because they're probably relating to it because of how their brain makes them feel, which is valid. So, yeah. Okay, on to the next one, which I believe is the last one.
Okay, there's this wild thing you guys might not believe, but you don't have to hate fat people.
Okay, so there's this wild thing that I don't think fat activists choose to believe, and that's that not everybody, actually a good majority of people, don't hate fat people. And that's something I've learned through actually having conversations with people. So I'd recommend that. Anyways, on to the next one.
He's the last.
Okay, so this is a stitch, or a duet, I think, with Tess Holliday reacting to Brendan Fraser talking about obesity being, like, the last stigmatized thing that needs to be, like, talked about in society, because he is in the movie The Whale, which I'm thinking about making a video on, about the movie The Whale. Would you guys be interested in that? Let me know. But she's duetting Tess Holliday, talking, or, like, basically co-signing what Brendan Fraser is saying about obesity being, like, the last thing that needs to be, like, talked about and normalized in society. So Laura is adding to this by saying, obesity. He's starring in the most fat-phobic movie ever. I don't care what he says. I hate that prominent members of the fat community are supporting him and cheering this BS on. So, yeah, let me just play what Brendan Fraser's saying here.
Of prejudice that we as a society still haven't changed the way we speak about it, the way we refer to people, the way that we care about one another. Yeah.
Which is true. I do agree with the fat acceptance message that, like, fat people are treated unfairly in society. Like, I will say that till I'm blue in the face. Do I think it's the same as the other people's struggles that they compare it to, like black people, brown people, LGBTQ folks? No. But do I think that they are treated unfairly in society? Yeah. With this, I just don't understand. Like, he's literally talking about what you want to talk about, and he's, like, a huge actor. He's spreading the narrative to people who might not be on TikTok or on the internet to hear you talk. So, like, why can't you just take what you can get? Like, yeah, you might not agree with the movie he's in, but he's still talking about what you are saying on your platform. So I don't understand why you can't just take what you can get and let let A-list celebrities talk about this, because they're probably reaching more people than you ever will on TikTok. And I'm not saying that to be rude. He's reaching more people than I ever will on my platform. And I think this, like, with any kind of thing, with any kind of message, like, a win is a win. And to me, him talking about this is a win for fat acceptance. Like, that's just how I feel. And the queen of body positivity and fat acceptance is co-signing it, basically. So, like, take what you can get. And I know that's might seem rude or whatever, but like I said, with any messaging, a win is a win. When an A-list celebrity talks about what you always talk about day after day on TikTok, I would consider an A-list celebrity like co-signing basically what you're saying to be a win. So just take it. Okay, that's it. So that's all I have to say about this in this video. Let me know if there's any other specific creators that you want me to talk about. I am planning a mammoth of a Tess Holiday video in December. Merry Christmas. So that's on the table. Don't worry, that's coming. So is Virgie Tovar. So is Fat Dr. UK. So those are 3 people that I'm talking about in December. If you can think of anybody else, let me know. That's it for this video. Thank you so much to FlexiSpot for sponsoring me again. And again, thank you so much to you guys for continuing to watch and interact with my content. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be kind to others, be kind to yourself, drink your water, take your meds, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.